Hi guys, this is Cal from Nerdy Weasel, and welcome back to the mod organizer for Fallout New Vegas series. In this episode, we'll be downloading and installing Vert's Wasteland Flora Overhaul. We'll talk about the different versions available and show you examples of each. Then we'll talk about the various patches and how to properly install them using Mod Organizer. So let's get started and head on over to the desktop. Alright, so here we are at the desktop, and let's just talk briefly about Vert's Wasteland Flora Overhaul. Just like NMC's Texture Pack and Ojo/Poco Bueno retextures buildings and cars and objects in the game, Vert's Wasteland Flora Overhaul will overhaul the textures and appearance of trees, grasses, plants, and other things in Fallout New Vegas to make it look a lot better. And it even adds many new objects into the game depending on which package you get. We're going to go over that real fast, but I wanted you to see a few pictures of those that have been scrolling by as we talk. But let's go look at it. Vert's Wasteland Flora Overhaul is on the Nexus page, and it's Nexus Mods 39856, and you can see it right here. And it's been, 500,000 times, roughly. The latest version's 2.8, and it how long's it been here? The most recent version, I'll go look at that in a second. But the features, there's a much more varied wasteland. 101 different types of trees and plants are carefully placed throughout the wasteland. Okay, you'll see cacti, bristlecone pines, dead trees, desert sunflowers, and on and on. And basically talks about there's 3 versions. There's Fertile Wasteland, and this ESP makes use of all the models that I've created. While it doesn't make the whole landscape full of trees or anything, you'll occasionally encounter foresty areas near water and sometimes near mountains. Okay. Then you have Dead Wasteland. This version does less changes to the landscape and doesn't make use of all the models. Mainly uses them to create dead trees and cacti and replace original trees with better looking models, and they do look much better. And then the final version, as you call it, we'll call it Vert's Light, and it's going to be the ESP-less version. The mod, in its simplest form, replaces the original trees with highly detailed models. You're missing out on about 70, 80 or so models, though. No ESPs are required to use this mod. Alright, so what's new in 2.8? Well, Fertile Wasteland has 1 new grass texture. Color on the grass is tweaked to look more natural. A new texture for one of the pine trees. Download Nexus Mod should now work. Okay, very good. So you have all these facts. You can go and read them. I'm going to go to go back to the desktop. I'm going to show you a montage real fast of what they kind of look like, and then we'll come back and install it. Alright, this is the location outside of Novac. You can see in the vanilla version, this is basically what you expect to see. And then you'll start going to the dead version. You don't see a lot of changes. They're very subtle. And that's kind of what you expect. You don't expect things to make changes all over the place. And then you get the fertile version, and you can see some added trees. And you'll just discover those on the way. Here we are outside of Jacobstown. The vanilla version, the trees don't look that great. The textures are horrible. They don't look so good. The dead version is adding more trees and adds a lot more textures to them and adds a lot of variety. And then, of course, in the fertile version, it's adding a lot more trees and they look great. Here's Goodsprings, vanilla version. You all know what to see here. And then you compare it to the fertile version, you'll definitely see an improvement. You can see a lot more trees. You'll see a lot more plants and flowers in the area. And this is outside of Spring Mountain Ranch, Ranger State Park, whatever the thing was. That's the vanilla version. You see they added a lot more trees even in the dead version, and the grasses are different. And then finally in the fertile version, it's a lot greener, it's a lot lusher as far as the textures and the grasses go. It looks great. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let's go back on there, and just like always, I have Mod Organizer up and running. You want to hit this search Nexus Networks for more mods, and you want to go to Flora Overhaul and find it there. and you go to the Files section. And you will encounter exactly what I'm talking about. You will have the Wasteland Flora Overhaul Dead version, the Wasteland Flora Overhaul Fertile version, and the UFO ESP Less version. That's the light version that doesn't have everything. You can see it's much smaller in nature. Under Updates, you will find the update for the latest Dead version, and we will go through this and show you how to make it work. And then there are LOD patches, the length of display patches. We'll cover these real quickly, and I'll show you how to integrate it for NMC, Poco Bueno, and textures over time. Not anything really special about this. We'll just go over that real fast. The no anti-aliasing and multi-sample patch, if you have leaves that look very thick or blocky and unrealistic, you need this. Okay. I don't have that problem, so I won't be covering here, but basically you'll go ahead and download that and merge it into whatever version you have. And then these other old versions, I wouldn't worry about that too much, but you pick the one you want. I tested both versions. I like the Dead version, and I downloaded that with Manager. We will minimize that down. Open our mod organizer and go to our downloads. And I've already downloaded it right here. And we would just double click to install. And we will hit manual. And you can see no data on top. Set data directory, meshes, textures, and verts Wasteland Flora Overhaul ESP. And it looks good. Let's go ahead and install that. And there we go. Now it's going to be at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and activate it. And we'll move it up towards underneath the, let's go with the rest of the texture packs right up here. It's a good place to see it, and then we'll look at what it does. We'll overwrite files, go to our conflicts, and you can see it's basically overwriting some Poco Bueno stuff, NMC textures pack. All right, no problem. It's being overwritten by, in my case, Fallout New Vegas Project Reality. Okay, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. We want to overwrite some of this stuff in Poco Bueno and NMCs and be overwritten by Project Reality. That's perfect. All right. So, in my case, we want the update. Remember this? The update for the latest Dead version. And what this does is it fixes an issue with the LODs of buildings in the Dead version. Thanks to Gingy Kaz for the edit. And it's really kind of hard to describe what it does. What was happening, you were getting some of the long distance displays, the 2D models were still being visible up close. And this fix will correct that. All right. So what I did was I went ahead and pulled it up, and I wanted to see what it was doing. So I have the zip file right here. Okay, it's the update for the latest Dead version. I just manually updated it, and I went and looked and poked around. And you can see it's verts wfo.esp. Basically, it's just a rewrite of the ESP. Okay, and that's fine. So, I don't need that anymore. I've downloaded it onto Mod Organizer, and you would double click this, and you hit manual, and you're basically going to set data directory on top, and there's that ESP. Okay. Now you'll notice under name it says Wasteland Flora Overhaul, and that matches what we already have. And we click OK. And it says it's already installed. Do you want to add files to this archive or overwrite existing ones? Okay. We're not going to replace it. We're going to merge it. Right? We didn't want to get rid of the textures and meshes. And if we double click and open it, we can see in our file tree we still have meshes, textures, the .ini, and the verts WFO ESP, but it's the correct size. Okay, so you can see it was updated recently on that. So we can go ahead and close that down. All right. Now, if you wanted the floral version, it's basically the same installation process, but without the update for the latest Dead version. It's a lot easier. Just install it the same way you saw the Dead version go in. Fertile version goes the same way, but you don't need the update. All right. All right. Now, that brings us to our next point. the LODs. I'm using the LOD patches version 1.2. All right, and it is a download manually only, and I've done so already. It is on my desktop, and you can see LOD patches version 1.2. Let's open that up, and you will be presented with a bunch of patches, and you pick your pack. Okay, let's go back up. Verts WFO LOD patches version 1.2. Open that up, choose your pack, open that up. Now you will be presented with a number of different packs. If you have a vanilla setup, no texture packs whatsoever, go ahead and, pull this out and set it aside. Same thing if you have textures over time. You want to pull it out and set it aside. If you're using Poco and Ojo Bueno as your preferred mod, pull it out over time. Or pull that out and set it aside. Right? NMC's normal texture pack with the all the normal stuff, pull it out and set it aside. For me, I have NMC's texture pack Washed Out Wasteland. I want to go ahead and set it aside. Pull it out and set it aside. Just set it right there. If you are like me, and you remember I have both Poco Bueno and NMC's texture pack. All right, I talked to Esserby about this. And what he suggested, if you are running both and you have NMC's as your primary, in other words, it is overriding Poco Bueno, you want to pick NMC's. If you had them in reverse, if you had NMC's being overwritten by Poco Bueno, you would choose Poco Bueno's. Pull it out and set it aside. All right? Just remember that, guys. So whatever is your primary, in other words, whatever is being overriding the other texture packs you may have, choose that LOD pack. Like I said, mine is NMC's texture pack Washed Out Wasteland. It's right there. I've taken it out and put it on my desktop. I can go and close that down. Now, you're going to ask, what do I do with this now? Let's open it up and look at it. It's just data, textures, landscape, LOD. All this stuff right in here. You don't really need to know what's in there primarily. It's going to overwrite properly. But what you want to do is go ahead and using WinZip or 7-zip or WinRAR, whatever you choose, I want you to right click on it and you want to add to our archive. And we are going to rename this. All right, let's call it, what should I call it? Let's just call it the NMC's texture pack LOD. Okay, let's make the name a little easier. Right, so I know it's NMC's texture pack LOD patch WinRAR. Okay, it's going to build the pack. It's now over here. Right, now we've packaged it correctly so Mod Organizer can now use it. So we open up our Mod Organizer again. We come over here and install a new mod from an archive. And we select that. We go to our desktop. And you can see the patches. This has all the patches in it. That's why we renamed it. And you have NMC's texture pack LOD patch. That's going to change the LODs in the game to match the texture pack for NMC. Okay, we select that and we open it. And just like before, we want to rename this. Now what we're going to do, we're going to call it NMC's texture pack LOD patch. There it is. In testing, that's how I chose the name, and that's fine. You can name it whatever you want. And here's the thing. I'm going to install this as its own mod. So go ahead and click Manual. We're going to Set Data Directory and Set Data Directory, and we have textures only. That's all we need. You want to take a look at it all. Okay, landscapes, LOD. Just that simple. Okay, it looks good just as it is. That's all it is a texture file. Right, you're going to hit OK. And there it is. It's now installed at the bottom. It is its own mod. So we want to go ahead and take it and move it up here under Wasteland Floral Overhaul. And you want to activate it. Right? When you go in and you open this up and you're going to take a look, and you're going to go into your conflicts, you can see it's now changing stuff in NMC's texture pack. Okay? We're going to just move this over a little bit. So you can see Poco Bueno is overwriting these things. The Wasteland Floor Overhaul is what we want. We want to overwrite the Wasteland Floor Overhaul. All right, it's a patch. There you go. That's pretty simple, right? Now, on your plugins, it may move them around. You can see Verts Floor, Wasteland Floor Overhaul is at the bottom. This is the time I would go ahead and use Loot. Just let Loot handle this, and just let it run. I've got it already set up for Fallout New Vegas, sort plugins, and it is done. And we can go ahead and just take a look real fast. You can see it moved it up, right? Below the weapon mod menu, but now it's above Project Reality. After King's Firing Range is something personal for me. I may be using it for other mods, other videos, but for right now, that's what it is. So that's where it wants it, and you go ahead and hit apply. Let's just look at the details. See, I still haven't cleaned my files. That's okay. Episode 11 of this is going to be going over how to clean all this stuff. It's going to be more of a technical episode. How to make some fixes, how to clean it up. And we come down, Project Nevada needs to be cleaned. Verts Wasteland Floor Overhaul. Okay? Right? It's going to have some ITMs that you can clean, but do not clean the UDR records from this mod. Otherwise, the game will crash on startup. I want to point that out to you so that you don't, jump ahead and start cleaning this stuff with FNV Edit. But just remember, do not clean the UTRs. Only clean the ITMs. All right? Just keep that in mind, guys. Go ahead and close that down, and we'll take a look. And there it is. It's correct. All right? So we're going to step aside here. I'm going to jump into game, and we will take a look at what we've got. All right, so here we are in game, and we are at the... wrong button. Here we are in game. You can see we are back in Goodsprings, and you can see right away we've already got some new cacti. That's new stuff. And you come over and you took with the like the Joshua trees. I'm real familiar with these from living in California desert for so long. You can see those look pretty good, right? So basically, he's retextured all this stuff, and it looks fabulous. You'll notice some new trees here and there, but overall, it looks different. Obviously, you saw the before and after picture from vanilla to fertile wasteland, and that's why it didn't include a dead wasteland version, because you're going to see it right here. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is what dead version looks like, and I really like it. You can see some stuff pop in there, new stuff. Those are like mesquite trees, and you got a type of dead, twisty, oaky, piney thing there, right? Bristlecone. I think that's what those are called, bristlecones. But you can see it adds trees. It adds more, more plants and shrubberies around. It looks pretty good. We'll just take a hike down the road. Aloe plant. Looks nice. You can see it makes a big difference when you're coming down through here to see all these different types of plants and whatnot around. Now, I want to point something else to you. This is my own player home that I have. We got the big barrel cactus out front. Looks good. This cactusy thing looks fabulous like that. But you'll see occasionally you run into this, a tree may be placed where you don't expect it to be. In this case, it's growing right through my house. And I'm going to have to think about that later on. But anyways, that's kind of what it looks like, guys. I mean, it looks good. You're going to run into stuff. This is a conflict. Rancho Villa added these walls in, and they weren't originally here. These big rocks, they weren't originally here. So this cactus is a conflict between the two. But I don't want to mess with it. I want to keep it for right now because I think it looks overall. I love Rancho Villa. I love this house. You've probably seen me before do this. Okay. That's what it looks like. It looks a lot better. I think that, between NMC's texture pack and Ojo Bueno, Verts Wasteland Floor Overhaul, it looks great. I think it looks very, very good. Very pretty. So there you go. There's another tutorial from Mod Organizer for Fallout New Vegas. We'll be continuing on. Episode 11 will be covering some of the technical aspects, cleaning your mods, cleaning your dirty edits and whatnot, and we'll just go over some of the, ins and outs of doing that. It'll be a quick one, and then we'll start in on the other things. Other things, I don't know what it'll be, but we'll see what it is when it comes up. So thanks for joining me. It's been a while since I've done one of these. It was good to get back in the saddle and get moving again. So this is Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel, and I'm signing off.